Duncan Baird, Office of Budget, Department of Finance and Administration. I mean, I think if you're looking at an individual on Medicaid, I really don't know that that would be something that we would have. I mean, I think in broad terms, what Dawn was talking about, you know, some of the broader budget impacts, both within, you know, the Medicaid program, but also at Department of Correction, UAMS, some of these other places, that's probably more what we're looking at is the calculated impacts there.
So we're looking at a global shift of the population at a certain cost, and we're looking at a global savings, or a wrapped up is probably a better word, a wrapped up cost versus a wrapped up savings, and saying there's a wrapped up savings here. Is that a better description?
To be honest, I'm not sure I'm understanding. Are you just talking
I
about
don't either. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But if we're paying 108% more, there's got to be somewhere that we're seeing a significant savings to put that together. And what I'm hearing, there's no line item that says here's where that cost went, and here's where it shows up over here on the other side of the ledger as a savings. I'm hearing that there's we just kind of roll that off the table, and we roll these guys in, and we've got these big pots of money that we're dropping it into. But I would expect to see a shift, a line item. If we pull it off here, here's where we're saving it on the other side of the ledger. Is there that comparison?
Yeah, I mean, I think the broader, you know, just thinking back to the kind of the reason the private option was different than the expansion, and the reason it was somewhat unique among the states, maybe there, you know, a couple of others similar, was the choice to use the private insurance, the marketplace, as opposed to using just traditional Medicaid or some government mechanism. And so, I mean, I think that may even, at least from my view, that difference there may even be just kind of a bigger picture question of you know, going back to that choice to use the private sector versus another mechanism, and you know, so it may go beyond the dollars itself as to you know, I'm kind of getting out of my league, but you know, I, at least in my view, that would be probably just my fault on it, given what I know right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm used to seeing a cost on one side of the ledger and you recoup it over here, and there's no one-to-one relationship there.
Well, and to look at your thing about general surgery, the last meeting, if you remember, Mr. Link, I asked you to get a comparison of the cost of a hernia surgery, which is a general, you know, not something like a broken arm that may require steel plate or something, just like a hernia surgery. What does it cost in a hospital with a private option coverage? What does it cost with a hernia surgery under traditional Medicaid, if that person is disabled and has to have a hernia? What does it cost if they're on Medicaid under Medicaid Expansion? So I think if you look at what these hospitals or something are charging for the same patient in three different, same scenario in different locations, would tell us a lot about where this cost is going and what's happening. Because if they're charging $7,500 for a hernia surgery and a private option person, but yet under Medicaid, under Expansion, they're only charging $4,500. Well, you know, there's a problem there. So did you find out any information about a hernia surgery?
No, sir, I did not look specifically at hernia surgery. We obviously did, different practices, but we did not look specifically at that surgery.
I'm just trying to pick, and if somebody else can come up with, I mean, you could ask your husband, what is it, just a general surgery? I mean, hernia is the best thing I can come up with, because I had hernia surgery all the time. Would just be the general same, the board.
I don't know what the, average cost would be, or the cost of the Medicaid patient versus the private option patient, but I will say this, around the state there are physicians who have taken a lot of Medicaid patients, which they're glad to do, but at some point you have to wonder if you're going to have to close your door. And so if you allot 50% for Medicaid patients and 50% for private pay, you might can pay your nurses and pay for all the things that you have to, your rent and all of that. So I think access to care was probably one of the reasons why we went with the private option, because there are just some people, some physicians that just cannot take 100% of Medicaid patients at this rate and still make a living. And I know that sounds foreign to a lot of people, but it's very true. They want to do what they can to help people, but if they're not there in practice, then they're not helping anyone. But I do think if we will go to number 4, we might look at some costs there, because